From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, another big day of new confirmed COVID-19 numbers across Montana. As coronavirus numbers climb across the state, small schools feeling the brunt with shutdowns. 321 new confirmed COVID-19 cases across Montana today, and 2 new deaths added in Yellowstone County. One of those, a woman in her 80s who passed away at a local senior living facility on September 11th. The other, a man in his 70s who also lived in a senior living facility, died this past Sunday. Now, this brings total COVID-related deaths across the county to 66 and the state now at 177. Well, today, Missoula County with the most new confirmed cases at 58, Flathead County at 52, Lewis and Clark County with 33, and Cascade County with 28. Well, Jordan, Montana students now learning from home for the next 2 weeks after a teacher tested positive for COVID-19. Superintendent Nate Olson says in a letter on the district's Facebook page, many students and staff had contact with the teacher during the possible exposure period, leading to the decision to shut down. Jordan has also postponed all sporting events until at least October 10th. The school district's safe return to school plan includes 2 weeks of remote learning with possible in-person classes starting back up on October 12th. Well, other small schools across the state also shutting doors. The schools in Harlem, Conrad, and Box Elder also forced to close due to recent COVID cases. Well, 10 COVID-19 cases are now confirmed among the residents and staff at an assisted living facility in Columbus. 3 of those people are hospitalized. Now, the cases at Meadowlark Assisted Living were first confirmed on September 23rd. Michael White, the co-owner of the facility's parent company, says 6 employees and 4 residents have become infected. The cases came to light after a resident went to a Billings hospital for ankle pain and was tested for COVID-19 as part of that visit. Now, residents are confined to their rooms until they see 2 weeks of COVID testing without a positive case. Well, we now know the name of a man found dead inside a West End Billings house fire yesterday. Yellowstone County Coroner Cliff Mahoney says 45-year-old John D. Nalen III died of smoke inhalation. Billings police have now taken over the investigation completely at 3309 Tahoe Drive. Nalen was found in a bedroom that was heavily damaged by flames. The fire caused around $100,000 in total damages. No word yet on the cause or details around the investigation. Perhaps more than any other race on Montana's 2020 ballot, the contest for governor will shape the future of our state. Democrat Mike Cooney and Republican Greg Gianforte are the leading candidates to succeed outgoing Democratic Governor Steve Bullock. Well, tonight, MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison takes a closer look at where Cooney and Gianforte stand and how they differ on the economy, the state budget, and tax policy.
Republican Congressman Greg Gianforte says the #1 reason he's running for governor is to create more and better paying jobs in Montana. How will he do it?
But it focuses on a top to bottom regulatory review to keep regulations that protect public safety and the environment, but remove the excessive ones, lowering the tax burden across the board.
He also wants more emphasis on trades education like carpenters, plumbers, machinists, streamlining of the permit process for mines and other natural resource projects, and a freeze in state spending.
We've had massive growth in state spending over the last 10 years. Our strategy is very simple. I am very hopeful we will not have to make cuts. My goal is to hold spending flat.
Gianforte also points to his business experience, building a software development firm in Bozeman from the ground up into an international company with more than 1,000 employees.
There is a huge contrast here between me and my opponent. I've spent my entire career creating good paying jobs, mostly here in Montana. My opponent got a 0% rating from the Montana Chamber of Commerce.
That rating for Cooney came in one legislative session when he was state Senate president 13 years ago. He's now lieutenant governor under Bullock and says if people want to know what he'll do, they should look to how the state budget is surviving the COVID-19 pandemic.
We're in a very strong position as a state. I mean, and we didn't get here by accident. In the last legislature, we worked with both Republicans and Democrats to build a budget that makes sense. Our reserves are full to capacity.
Cooney says he would continue to partner with business on education for hard-to-fill jobs, but that his first priority would be to make sure Montanans are healthy in the wake of the pandemic.
Because we cannot kickstart the economy again without healthy people. Once we do that, then we're going to continue to open up the economy, getting people back on the job.
That also includes ensuring people have access to affordable health care, he says, and preserving access to public lands, which drives Montana's outdoor economy. On natural resources, Cooney says he's always been supportive of traditional industries like mining and agriculture, but that Montana can't ignore the regional demand for cleaner power.
So we can continue to manage our resources properly and continue to benefit off them, but we also need to be prepared to move into the new economy where we're seeing it shift.
Finally, on tax policy, Gianforte wants to look at reducing taxes on property for homes and businesses and says Montana's state income tax is too high. If it's low enough, he says, it will attract more people to move here.
We're competing with states that have a zero income tax rate. I think what we can do is incrementally bring that down. And I think one of the ways we could do it is by inviting Montanans to come back home, bring their jobs with them.
Cooney says Montanans don't need any new taxes as they recover from the pandemic. But in the future, he'd like to consider raising the income tax rate on Montana's highest earners, those making more than $500,000 a year and with substantial capital gains.
If you're making minimum wage in Montana right now, you're paying the same tax rate as someone making $500,000. How is that fair? To just say we're going to cut property taxes, we're going to cut this tax or cut that tax, every one of those cuts will have an impact on services to the people of Montana.
So there you have it. Two very different approaches on how we should go forward in Montana. Tomorrow we look at something closely intertwined with the economy, education. Some significant differences there as well. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Mike. And this weekend, those two candidates will face off in an MTN debate. They'll hit on a number of topics that will affect the outcome of the race. Watch Saturday night at 6 right here on Q2 or with the Q2 streaming app. The first presidential debate between President Donald Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden is tonight. You can catch full coverage of that event right here on Q2 starting at 7 o'clock. The debate will also be streamed live on ktvq.com and on the Q2 Facebook page. Well, from ghouls to goblins, Halloween is quickly approaching. And while the masks may be different this year, the Moss Mansion still has some spooky things in store. MTN's Shaquille Cozart was brave enough to enter.
Now, if this isn't creepy, the Moss Mansion has you covered. Organizers of the mansion's Halloween events did not let the COVID-19 pandemic scare them away. This year, there will definitely be some changes, but the mansion's operations manager says they will keep their spooky events just as, if not even more, ghostly.
Normally very popular Clue game, ratcheted it up a notch for Halloween. So come and enjoy that. The lights will be off and a little bit of extra competition for that game.
Sinclair says the theme for this year's Spooky Museum will be Ghost Encounters. The mansion will be set up as an abandoned construction zone, and guests will come in as wanderers, looking to see if the place is haunted or not. The mansion is also bringing back the maze, and this year, it too has a new theme.
So here we are at the labyrinth. Now, you're going to tell us a little bit more about this labyrinth and how spooky it's going to be. So let's hear it.
It's spooky. There's plenty of people out there that have been here. They know how spooky it is, but every year we try a little harder. So this beautiful maze gets put up every fall, special for the occasion. We've got spooks, we've got goriness, we've got critters and creatures and ghouls and all the good things.
Oh man, now as you guys can see, it's not 100% set up yet. This is just kind of the base plan. But when this is done, I believe it's going to be super scary. I think I already got lost in here a little bit earlier. So get ready for some fun and some spooks. And what I hate the most, some spiders. So
one of the Moss Mansion's volunteers and veteran scarers said he gets a kick out of terrorizing the guest on their haunted maze tour.
I go to a dead end, and at that point, I turn and bring this sword up. It was the best reaction to see their faces when they turn around and see me like, ah!
In Billings at the haunted Moss Mansion, Shaquille Kozart, MTN News.
And Shaq tells us that protective masks will be required for all guests, but they can be used as costume ideas as well. Up next on tonight's MTN News on Q2, scrubs that rub nurses the wrong way are about to change. We'll show you how. And in sports, Senior and West square off Friday in football. Scott has a look at the dangerous Bronx duo at quarterback and receiver.
And coming up in weather, we soared into the 80s today, but a new backdoor cold front will cool us down this week. We'll have more about that coming up in a few more minutes.